Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
It's pitch dark in here. What the hell happened? Hey, it's Mike Weber. Yeah, what a long day, what a long day. Not sure what's funny about being awake, but yeah. I'm always up till like 1 in the morning. Testing. All right. Just trying to get an actual show in. I did a couple live streams driving around. Pretty depressing. It's fun out there, but you know, let's what do we got? I bet 50 people would be a huge number. So this is the case of Doris Korell here. I was looking it up and it's still listed as unsolved, but right at the end it looks like last September they may have made an arrest, so thought it'd be kind of interesting to go over it. At least people will know it. Alright, so it says anglers find a body in a canal. This is in Florida. And it was hard to go find the actual reference to when the body was found. So you see like there's these pictures over here, and the southbound lanes of US 41 and Interstate 275 bypass. I don't know if we could try to find it. I gotta open up Google Earth first. Where is that? Yeah, right there. So this is where she lived at the time. Right here. I guess just right in that house. Let's see if I can figure out where that is. Along the southbound lanes of US 41 and the Interstate 275 bypass. I guess that's something I didn't look up yet. So they call it US 41. Let me put the roads on. Oh, there's 275. So where is US 41? Palmetto. Palmetto. Oh, is it like way up here? Okay, there's US 41. And then that looks like 41. And there's 41 there. So there's 41. Man, I don't know. I don't know how it gets all the way down. That's like in a whole different state. But I mean, 275 is right there. Let me just type in US 41. 41 in Florida. Hey, you guys, but if you're out there, just a short amount of people in here, if you want to help support the channel, that'd be great, because if I get 0 on a live stream, I think that would be the end of, I mean, this is just getting to the point where it's crazy. Alright, so down at the bottom of Florida, they're saying, way down here, there it is, there's 41, and then where does 275? I guess that's 41 still. It doesn't say that on a picture that I see. But yeah, I mean, there's 41. And so does that go over? Yep, there's 41. Alright. And then there's 41 there. Okay. But then 275 is right there. I see that. 275 is right here. Does it go around the corner? Now that's 41 right there. 41. And then there's 41. I think we're running into, there's 275. Okay, there we go. So it's right in this area right here. Wow, that took a while to find that. So somewhere in this general area here. In a canal, and there's a canal right there, and, you know, different. Oh, there was a picture in that paper, though. Right there. So it's kind of like when it's two-way. So they said a narrow canal along the southbound lanes of US 41. So it's a narrow canal along the southbound lane of 41 and the Interstate 275 bypass. Now there's like a creek here. I don't know if they call that a canal. But yeah, I mean, this is the 271. Yeah. Probably just somewhere around in here. Don't know the exact spot. Now, let's see if we can do the $2 holler on this show, just so it's not a 0, you guys. been a horrendous day and a horrendous yesterday, and it'd be nice to pretend that this live stream did something. Paul Thomas, 38, of Palmetto, and 2 friends arrived at the canal in the 6500 block of US 41. Oh, let's maybe try that. 6500 US 41. No. $6,500 block at US 41 North Palmetto to finish a day. Let me see if Palmetto is where we're at. Yeah, so we're in the right place here. To finish a day of cast netting. While pulling in the first cast, Thomas saw something suspicious 25 yards from the guardrail. Hey man, is that a body? Thomas asked. Cleo Edwards, 33, and Delane Edwards, 40, both of Palmetto. The nude body, which appeared bloated, was floating face down with only the legs. Ew, probably alligators then. Hey, thanks, Esther. Only the legs and lower torso visible from the roadside. The upper torso was hidden from view by hanging branches along the shoreline. After determining it was a human body, the man flagged down a passing motorist who called 911 about 4:12 p.m. on cellular phone. Wow, 1996. Yeah, that's pretty early days for that one. On a cellular phone. According to Manatee County Sheriff's deputies at the scene. While waiting for investigators and paramedics, hey, thanks, Jessica. The men also stopped a passing Florida Highway Patrol trooper. Members of the sheriff dive team were called to the scene and retrieved the body of a white female shortly after 6:30 p.m., according to Captain Brad Stube, or however you pronounce Stube. It was not immediately known how long the body may... And let's see if it's on the next page. Hold on. Body to page 2. What page is this one? Let me just put 2 in here and see what happens. Oh, look at that. Clooney. That's so crazy. Well, it does say 2 there. But there's nothing under body. It says body there. What the hell's up with that? Body page body to page 2. Jeez. Oh, there it is right there. Have been in the water, or whether there were any apparent wounds, Stubby said. Thanks, Linda Howe. An autopsy will likely be performed today by the medical examiner's office to determine that information, Stubby said. An investigation continued. Investigators continued to arrive at the scene Sunday afternoon. The 3 fishermen waited to talk to detectives about their unsettling discovery. Cleo Edwards shook his head and said he was in no rush to go fishing again anytime soon. His friends silently nodded their heads in agreement. You never know who you're going to. You never know what you're going to find, Cleo Edwards said. It's kind of a ridiculous comment. And then they don't know who this person is. And then this is another article the next day. Detectives hope a gold ring and description of the woman who wore it will lead to clues about her identity and her murder. 3 fishermen discovered the nude body of a white female shortly after 4 p.m. Sunday while they were cast knitting by a narrow canal along the southbound lanes of US 41 and the Interstate 275 bypass. So they're saying near those areas. So again, let's just take a look at that. See, there's a narrow thing here, you know, and that's the southbound lanes, and it's near the, here's 275. On this side, I don't see any canals, so I actually think it's probably up there. Like right here. Yeah, what that looks like down there. Oh crap, somebody actually went in that. There's the little whatever that excuse me. Oh wow, let's see, let me go back. So maybe in here. And that's pretty wild to actually have a 360 degree right inside that canal. I think that's got to be it. I mean, there's this, they call it a creek. I mean, usually canals are sort of these man-made, straight as hell looking things on the side of a road, but I don't see anything that looks like that. Three fishermen discovered the nude body, a white female, shortly after 4 p.m. An autopsy performed Monday indicated the woman was stabbed several times, but the Manatee County Sheriff's Office declined to release specific information about the wounds. Hey, thank you, this account. Identifying the body is our #1 priority right now, said Sheriff spokesman Dave Bristow. The victim's age was estimated to be late teens to early 20s. She had bluish-green eyes and curly reddish-brown, medium-length hair. She was about 5'1", 100 pounds, the sheriff's office reported. The victim's right ear was pierced 3 times, and she wore a gold ring on the right index finger. Her description does not fit any local missing persons report, Bristow said. There's always a chance that the crime could have occurred somewhere else, Bristow said, when asked if the body could have been dumped in the canal by someone using the highly traveled roadway. The woman, whose body appeared bloated, may have been dead between 2 to 5 days, sheriff reports stated. Citing preliminary autopsy reports, detectives are unsure whether she was sexually assaulted. This is the 11th homicide investigation assigned to the Manatee County Sheriff's Office during 1996. And then here's the ring here. It says, do you have information about this ring? It is kind of a specific. Or its where. It was recovered from a woman whose body was found Sunday in a narrow canal along the southbound lanes of US 41 and the Interstate 25 bypass. And then here we go. Family fears the worst. Missing woman. Laura, see, you know what's crazy is that, like, they're not even associated at this point. I mean, this is just a missing person. Laura Jopp came from Maryland to pick up pieces of her mother's life, her furniture, her clothes, her family, photographs. Though 3 weeks have passed since Doris Korell disappeared, her daughter has a hard time talking about her in the past tense, but in her heart, she knows her mother is gone. She would have called me by now. This has been going on too long, said the 25-year-old who was in Greensboro. It's going to be a bad Christmas. Jopp reported her mother missing to St. Petersburg police after her mother's boyfriend called to say that she went shopping one evening and never returned. Steve Ford, the boyfriend, said he was watching the evening news December 9th when Korell grabbed her purse and left. It was on a Monday evening. The next day, Ford went to Crosswind's apartments where she worked. She wasn't there either. He called Jop the next day. I was like, she'll come through that door, Ford said. When she didn't come home Tuesday night, that's when I really started getting worried and upset. Police found Korell's 1987 red Mazda RX-7 December 18th parked near Dillard's store at Pinellas Square Mall. Security office officials said it had been there about a week. And so her RX-7 was found, I think, right at this mall here. Right in here. I don't know which one was Dillard's at the time, but it was in this mall. A doctor recently, Ford said Korell had not used any credit cards, her automatic teller card, or written any checks. She takes Prozac and other medications, which she does not have with her. A doctor recently adjusted a medication for a thyroid condition, but Ford said the doctor assured her the change would not affect her thinking. Korell, 44, moved to Florida with Ford in July to start over, Ford said. He met her about 2 years earlier in Delaware. Since coming to Florida, Korell stayed in touch with her daughter, who is expecting a baby. In some of the letters I have, she was unhappy, said Jop. And who was Jop up here again? Laura Jop came from Maryland to pick up pieces. Okay, that's her daughter. In some of the letters I have, she was unhappy, said Jop. An only child. We had talked, and I really think she was coming back home when I had the baby to stay here. Jop talked to her mother the Sunday before she disappeared. Korell talked about adjusting to Florida in December, putting up the Christmas tree in 70-degree weather. Korell said she would call back later in the week to see how Jop fared after an upcoming doctor's appointment. Instead, it was Ford who called to say Korell was missing. He wanted, her boyfriend, Korell's boyfriend, called the daughter to say, hey, your mom's missing. He wanted to know whether Jop had heard from or seen her mother. I was like, what do you mean? She's missing? Jop recalled. Ford said in an interview last week that he and Korell liked living in Florida. He said Korell was planning a dinner party. Since she had disappeared, Ford said he has called hospitals and medical examiner's office and searched the neighborhood around their home at 631 92nd Avenue North, and then flyers have been printed. When they found the car, I'm just thinking the worst, he said. Somebody got her. Let's see. He said she did not seem depressed and never mentioned wanting to leave Florida. He said she had one relative in St. Petersburg and a close friend in Tampa, but no one else she would have gone to visit without telling him. In the meantime, Ford had not returned to his job as a lawn care worker. He said he spends most of his time sitting at home hoping for Korell's return. I was just... I'm about to sneeze. Let's see. It was going to be our first Christmas in Florida, he said. It was just going to be a nice and quiet, just the two of us. It was just going to be nice and quiet, just the two of us. In Maryland, Jop said the family had questions about what happened to her mother. They hope time will bring answers, even though they will apparently not come in time for the holidays. It's hard right now, Jop said. We always spent Christmas together. So this is just a missing person article here. No association with the first article. But that's the person that was found, that's her. Okay, they just don't know it at the time. And so it says, even before she was reported missing in December, Doris Korell was dead. She had been stabbed again and again, then left in a canal. So I guess there isn't very many articles in Florida newspapers for crimes for some reason, but this one had a few. And so I guess we missed the part where they identify her. But it says, her body was found floating near US 41 and Interstate 275 in Palmetto, but her identity would not be known for 5 months. While investigators in Manatee County were looking for a name, detectives in St. Petersburg began looking for a body after Korell's daughter reported her missing. It all began to fall into place recently, and dental records finally confirmed the body was Korell's. That's that body that was found in the canal by the people that were cast net fishing. And yes, you guys, if you guys could continue on with the $2 holler, at least we could say something. Today, with all three of the shows and this one, we're only at a quarter of the goal, if you can believe that. I mean, just scary times, scary times. On Tuesday, investigators said the woman's boyfriend was considered a person of interest in the slaying. No arrests have been made. The boyfriend, Steve Ford, now lives in Delaware and works for a lumber company. Korell, 45, he moved. And he moved back to Delaware, even though he said he loved Florida, that Steve Ford guy. Korell, 45, disappeared in December. Her daughter, Laura Jopp, of Greensburg, Maryland, reported her missing, and we read that article, to St. Petersburg police after her mother's boyfriend called to say that she went shopping one evening and never returned. Korell had moved to Florida with Ford in July of 1996. Thanks, this account. Ford said Korell was adjusting to life there and liked it. After she disappeared, he said he called hospitals and the medical examiner's office in hopes of finding out what happened to her. He also printed flyers. So, but the boyfriend now became the focus. Oh, I guess, yeah, that other one might have been out of order. So I guess this one's the one. Fishermen discovered Doris Korell's body December 15th in a narrow canal, even though this is a day after that last article. Dead woman from St. Petersburg. Fishermen discovered Doris Korell's body December 15th in a narrow canal at US 41 and the Interstate 275 bypass. Man, that's all that can do the $2 holler tonight. Authorities used dental records to positively identify the body as Doris Korell, who was reported missing by her daughter December 9th. Korell's boyfriend, who now is living out of state, is a suspect in connection with her murder, according to authorities. And this is 1997 right here. She went missing in December of 96. 3 fishermen who were cast netting discovered Korell's body December 15th in a narrow canal along the southbound lane of US 41. They keep wording it exactly the same. When found, the body was nude, badly decomposed, bloated, and unrecognizable. Manatee County Sheriff's Office detectives said the woman had been stabbed multiple times and was dead 2 to 5 days before being found. The woman, who had bluish-green eyes and reddish-brown, medium-length hair, was described as 5 feet 1, 100 to 120. Her right ear was pierced 3 times, and she wore a gold ring. She also was described as being in her late teens or early 20s. For several months, detectives tried to learn the woman's identity. Detectives went to the America's Most Wanted television show and asked that a segment about, let's see, to page 3. Is this 2? Okay, so it's on the next one. Now, the body be aired. They paid a forensic sculpting artist in Oklahoma $1,000 to reconstruct the woman's face with clay. They flooded the media with the woman's description and pleas for tips. They put out bulletins to other law enforcement agencies about the body. Sheriff's Office detectives Tim County received 350 hits from around the United States of a woman who matched or nearly matched the description. One of the hits came back. Let's see. One of the tips that came back was Korell's, and detectives used dental records to confirm it was a match. Detectives made the match May 22nd, but didn't release it to the public, so the investigation wouldn't be jeopardized. Korell's daughter reported her mother missing to St. Petersburg police December 9th. I thought it was later than that. Police also found Korell's car December 18th parked near the Dillard store at Pinella Square Mall. Security officers said it had been there about a week. She was reported missing out of St. Petersburg, Downey said. They had suspicions when she was reported missing. They kind of worked it as a homicide from the get-go. I think I need to make this bigger. The investigation in St. Petersburg and Manatee County didn't cross paths until Downey discovered Korell's missing persons report and made the match. One of the reasons it may have taken so long was that the autopsy report indicated the body was of a woman in her late teens to early 20s. Korell was 45 when she was slain. I don't know. Who cares, Cheryl? The age description resulted in a flood of hits of young people missing from around the country. In pictures of her when she was alive, Korell looked younger than 45. She also was in good physical condition, Downey said. Let's see. David Winterhalter, an investigator with the medical examiner's office, said Korell's body, which was in a bad state of decomposition, was examined by 2 doctors who came up with the age description. 20 to 40 isn't a big as a change. 20 to 40 isn't a big as a change as if they said she was in her 20s and she ended up being in her 60s. Sheriff's Office Captain Connie Shingledecker said it appeared Korell was murdered in St. Petersburg and then driven over the Sunshine Skyway Bridge and dumped. Detectives in Manatee County found no blood or crime scene. In addition, the US 41 exit is one of the first exits and is convenient right-hand turn for someone who drove over the bridge. Okay, now I gotta go look at that again. So maybe it's going to be what I originally thought. Over the bridge. So you come over the bridge. And if you're going to turn right, that means it's over here. Yeah, that's where I had it originally. But I don't see a canal or anything. I don't know. Somewhere over here. Maybe there used to be and there isn't one now. I don't know. But anyways, you guys, if there's a chance, you guys could please help support the channel. I would really appreciate it. We got only 6 more days left of the month. And just really struggling heading into the end of the month. And I don't know how to make it better. So if you have the ability to, I would appreciate it. I know this isn't Koberger or any of the really big cases, but it's a case. Exit is one of the first exits in a convenient right-hand turn for someone who drove over the bridge. Korell's body was dumped not too far down US 41, an indication that the person who dumped her may not have known the landscape of Manatee County very well and feared getting lost. We have no reason to believe at this point in time that she was murdered in Manatee County, Shingledecker said. Yeah, there's that one. And then there's just there's no more articles after that. And then that's the boyfriend right there. Look at this. It took law enforcement nearly 28 years to make an arrest in the murder. So it was weird. It said it was unsolved in this database, but I think it is. It took law enforcement 28 years. This article from just 7 months ago. I mean, that's crazy, right? To make an arrest in the murder of St. Pete woman in Manatee County on Wednesday. The suspect appeared in court to set trial date in the case. I guess you guys didn't hear what I said. Manatee County Sheriff's Office homicide detectives charged Stephen. So now it's not, it was Steve before, but Stephen with P-H-E-N, L. Ford 72 for the 1996 murder of his former partner Doris Korell, who was 45 at the time of her death. Korell was found dead in a ditch along US 41 and look at that though. That looks like what I found, doesn't it? I mean, that looks exactly like what I was looking at, you know? Now it makes me want to look again. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just, they said he took a right, but I don't see the canal, and maybe it changed over time. Don't know. But yeah, you guys, if there's any chance you guys could help support the channel, really need it. We're at a point right now where it's hard to give anything at the end of the month. It's sad. All right, Korell was found dead in a ditch along US 41 in Manatee County on December 15th, 1996 in Palmetto. And then, let's see here, red Mazda RX-7 was discovered at the Pinellas Square Mall. Detectives also learned Ford rented a storage unit a day after Doris went missing, relocating her jewelry, clothing, and photos because he didn't want Doris's daughter to have it. Forrest rented a storage unit after Doris went missing, relocated her jewelry, clothing, and photos. Upon further investigation, detectives found that there were stains on the bedding and mattress, and it was foul smell. Detectives found a note from Ford addressed to his two sons. It was a note for him taking his own life. Christmas gifts had also, thanks Dixie Hippie. Christmas gifts had also been opened days before Christmas, as if he expected Doris wouldn't be found. However, Ford denied any involvement in her death. On January 5th, 1997, St. Pete detectives interviewed Ford's former girlfriend and learned about a letter mailed in October in which he wrote he has no time for you-know-who and hopes she'll leave soon. Let's see. October, in which he wrote he has no time for you-know-who and hopes she'll leave soon. Okay. Ford went on to write, I hope she gets the message that I don't want her here anymore. So he's talking about Doris. I don't know, Dixie. It doesn't matter what I say anymore. It's just, I guess people are okay with it. We're just dwindling away. Let's see. In 2017, an MCSO cold case detective reopened the case and began a thorough process of re-examining files from both Manatee and St. Pete police. Over the next 6 years, new information came to light. Acquaintances of Doris said she feared Stephen Ford and the troubled couple were having domestic and financial problems. Then in July of this year, DNA swabs obtained from Doris Korell's autopsy were sent off for testing. On August 12, 2024, detectives received notification that no foreign DNA profiles were identified, making it improbable that Doris was sexually assaulted at the time of her murder. They also learned through DNA testing that the mysterious bed stain was Ford's bodily fluids from an attempted taking his own life. Cold case detectives noted Ford's behavior showed a clear pattern of consciousness of guilt. The evidence obtained in this investigation, including Ford's deliberate action and statements to mislead law enforcement and ultimately his attempts to take his own life, provide in their totality probable cause to believe that Stephen Ford took the life of Doris Korell and disposed of her body in Manatee County, just minutes south of Pinellas County. On August 16, 2024, with the help of Delaware State Police, Ford was taken into custody during a traffic stop near his home in Georgetown, Delaware. He was extradited and booked into Manatee County. That was in June. And this, I guess this is another one. That's the guy. Look at that. Man accused of stabbing girl. Look at that. He stabbed her 83 times, you guys. See that? Authorities accused Stephen Ford, now 72, of killing his girlfriend Doris Korell when she was 45 and leaving her body in a ditch along Florida Highway. A man living in Delaware is accused of fatally stabbing his former girlfriend, who was found dead 28 years ago in a ditch. Stephen L. Ford, 72, was charged with second-degree murder with a weapon in the death of his live-in girlfriend, Doris Korell, who was reported missing on December 11, 1996. She was found dead 4 days later, lying face down in a drainage canal in Palmetto, and had been stabbed 83 times, according to the Manatee County Sheriff's Office, though it would be months before law enforcement identified her. Korell's daughter, who was living in Maryland at the time, reported her mother missing on December 12th. Yeah, they said 9th in that other article. After Ford called her, claiming Korell had driven off after an argument to go shopping, state prosecutor said. Korell's car was located on December 18th at a nearby mall with no evidence that a struggle or attack. He just drove her car over there to make it look like that's where something happened to her. St. Petersburg detectives investigating Korell's disappearance interviewed Ford days after she was reported missing and noticed a decomposing smell inside his home. according to the press release. So that means it's probably like the blood decomposition. He probably got rid of her body immediately. Authorities also found stains on the bedding and mattress that were not there during an earlier search. Yeah, as well as a note, that's where he wrote that note, to his sons that he took his own life, describing how he wanted to be with Korell if she was dead, according to the sheriff's department. Detectives said that when they questioned Ford about Korell's death, he stated, "If I killed her, I should get the death penalty." Right. Ford had also allegedly rented a storage unit a day after Korell went missing and moved her jewelry, clothing, and photos. I mean, just that alone, circumstantially, is like, I would vote guilty if that's all I had. Wouldn't you? Just look at, like, see, that's why circumstantial evidence is so powerful. I mean, in this case, the fact that he moved all of her stuff to a storage unit the day after she went missing means that he knows she's not coming back. And that would be enough for me to know that he absolutely did it, right? Because that's just common sense. There is not a good explanation for that. That's one of those ones. Well, there you go. Right, there you have it. So good news. I guess now there's going to be a trial at some point. So if you ever hear about when that might be, or, let me know. There's another case very similar to that, the other one that I had, but given the way things are going, I'm just going to call it a night. So thank you to Esther for gifting the one membership, and then I think this is the first night that the highest super chat was $2. I mean, that's just like, man, I'm not sure what's happening, you guys. This is turning into, it's getting difficult. Maybe I'm relegated to video only mode. Very strange. Very strange. Anyways, thanks to Jessica, Linda, this account, and Dixie Hippie. Yeah, yeah. There's no federal minimum wage at $7.25. But anyways, you don't need to explain it to me. Yep, it was a cool case. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you guys later. As I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, don't worry about it, you guys. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'll see how things go when we finally get to the trial and stuff like that. But, man, you guys, I'm not sure what happened to all of you guys used to always really keep us going and keep the support going. And it's just, I just finished the story, Joanne. I just don't know what I did differently. I'm doing the same stuff. So, yeah, I don't know, man. That doesn't make any sense. But I didn't ask you for the reasoning. Okay, well, thanks for getting me the... Thanks for the coffee there. I did get a coffee earlier from... let's see. I got one from Lisa Valenzuela. I guess that's larger. And then we had another one earlier from Mary Tenor. That was like 5 coffees, so that was good. I don't care, Grease Underground. You're just here to troll, man. Nobody gives a damn. Do you understand? Find something else. McDonald's pays $15. All right. Anyways, thanks, everybody. See you guys later. And, as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. What do you mean, well, good night? I've been on here for an hour and something. No, you guys weren't even here. All right, I'll tell you what. I have another story in here. If things pick up, I'll do the other story. I just, you want me to sit here for hours and just sort of. I'm just not sure what you guys need. Yeah, everybody always says that. Yeah. Never get the alert. Never get the alert. Hit the, you then unsubscribe and then subscribe again. Hit the notification bell and all videos. I am nice, little D. I don't know what you're referring to. I'm not sure what the hell you're talking about. Yeah, it's a long time from now for my channel to struggle this much. To hope that during that trial we'll do better. I just, I don't know, man. Mm-hmm. Why would you just wake up now? Do you live in England or something, or? All right, so what's going to happen when I do a whole nother story here? If I do a whole nother story, will we pick up the pace a little bit, or is it just going to be another hour and a half of the same thing? I guess that's what I'm asking. Because, I mean, I could save it for another time and hope, or something. I don't know, man. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing these days. It used to just be, we all just kind of knew. I do the shows, you guys support the channel. And now it's like, yeah, maybe, Gray. Yeah, just do the show. We'll still watch. Yeah, everything's the same. I don't know if I'm going to support it, but yeah, go ahead. And I mean, it's just sort of a weird feeling, This month has had 5 of the worst days in a year. And they just all happen to be in the same month. And I don't know what the hell I did. I don't want to do Karen Reed, man. I covered cases. Mm-hmm. I had another one. If you guys want me to do that one, I'll do it. No, that hasn't raised anything yet, Darren. You guys always have something, some comment, some kind of wild. I see the same things you guys do. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think people would show up if I did day trials. I've tried all those things, and like even during the Israeli stuff, I tried doing some 200 people. And then I did try to do the ones during the riots, 200 people. Mm-hmm. Then why'd you come in and complain, Joanne? If you're going to bed soon, you came in and said, well, God, you're not going to do your, Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want me to do it, how does, I'm just trying to say, if I do the story for another hour, what's it going to be like in the chat? There's only 50 people here, and this last hour, it was, not sure what you want me to do. I'll be doing the entire Koberger trial. It's going to be months long. Hopefully that'll work, But that doesn't start for like 6-7 weeks. And I don't know what you're talking about, Lil D. I mean, who you're referring to. I didn't say anything to anybody. YouTube isn't putting out notifications. Alright, you guys, I'll try the other one. I don't know what time it is, what time we're going to be up till, but let's see what happens. We'll see. Here we go. I gotta move that into the folder we just did. Yeah, Stacy Burns. The New Hampshire Attorney General's office is investigating what it calls the apparent homicide of a woman in Wolfboro. This is actually in 2009, so it's not long ago. Investigators say the body of 41-year-old Stacy A. Burns was found after officers searched inside her home shortly after 11 a.m. yesterday. Wolfboro police had gone to the address in North Main Street after receiving a 911 call. The Attorney General's office said in a news release that the call came from a resident of the home, but did not specify whether Burns or someone else had placed the call. Sounds like the Idaho 911 call. An autopsy is planned for today to determine the cause and manner of death. And she lived way over here. This is in hold on. Like way up here. Stacy's house. I think it's that one right there. Authorities are investigating the apparent killing of a Wolfboro woman found dead at home yesterday morning. The Wolfboro police responded to a 911 call from someone living at 146 North Main Street shortly before 11 a.m., according to a press release issued last night by the State Attorney General's office. There they found the body of resident Stacy Burns, 41. An autopsy is scheduled for today. Well, we're starting off worse than the last show, you guys. Don't know where. Let's see. Oh, right there. The mother of 5 found dead in her, so she had 5 kids, Wolfboro home Sunday morning, had been stabbed to death, officials said yesterday. As of yesterday evening, no arrests had been made in connection with the death of 41-year-old Stacy Burns, which the state medical examiner had ruled homicide. Senior Assistant Attorney General Jeff Strelzin said he couldn't comment on whether the police had any suspects. We look at anyone and everyone who has a present or past connection to the victim, Strelzin said yesterday afternoon, standing outside the police station in Wolfboro. Strelzin and members of the state police major crimes unit had spent much of the day at Burns' home at 146 North Main Street, which was roped off by yellow caution tape. Officers in rubber gloves and boots worked through the yellow 2-story house. It was yellow at the time. But look at that. Look at the, see the shapes there? That's right over here. This thing is this. See? And you can even, like, if you zoom in, you can see it better even. See? Right there. And so that's definitely the house. Burns worked in town as a nurse at Carpenter Elementary School, had 5 children with Edward Burns. The youngest is 7, the oldest is 15. Burns' body was discovered by something. But hey guys, if you're out there, you have the ability to help support the channel, I'd really appreciate it, as we discussed 20 times a few minutes ago. Let's see, and then right here it says, all of them teenagers and 2 her children, Streslin said. One of the teenagers called the police. So all of them teenagers and 2 her children. So there were some other random people there, I don't know. Streslin said he couldn't comment on other circumstances surrounding Burns' death or discuss in detail the results of yesterday's autopsy. Hey, thanks, Dixie Hippie. The Burns were estranged. At one point, Stacy Burns had a restraining order against Edward Burns, according to court records. So that's kind of interesting, don't you think? Hey, thanks, this account. It says the Burnses were estranged. So her husband, at one point, Stacy Burns had a restraining order against Edward Burns. According to court records, a judge refused to renew the order last fall because the 2 had spoken several times a week about their children and met without incident. Neighbors who knew Stacy Burns described her as cheerful and devoted to her children. The principal at Carpenter Elementary, Janice Brooks, said Burns loved life. She was a happy person. Burns had worked full-time as a nurse at an elementary school for 3 years, Brooks said, because that she was a part-time nurse in Kingswood High School and Kingswood Middle School. The children would go into her office and she'd help them feel really positive about themselves, Brooks said. We have a very wonderful community. Counselors were available. A steady flow of traffic moved along Main Street yesterday with drivers slowing down as they passed the crime scene. Neighbors who came to the door yesterday afternoon said they hadn't heard anything unusual Saturday night or Sunday morning. Anyways, they're just talking about like she was a nice person and she has 5 kids. The investigation continued yesterday into the stabbing death of the mother of 5 found slain in Wolfboro home Sunday morning. The police have made no arrests in connection with the death of 41-year-old Stacy Burns and Senior Assistant Attorney General Jeff Streslin. He wouldn't comment on whether investigators had any suspects or persons of interest and would only say that a lot of people have been interviewed, some repeatedly. Hey, thanks, Joanne. The police discovered Burns' body about 11 a.m. Sunday after receiving a 911 call from someone in her home at 146 North Main Street. 6 teenagers, 2 of them Burns' children, were at home when the call came in, and investigators have not said who called 911. Streslin said yesterday the teenagers had been at the home overnight. He wouldn't comment on whether others had been at the home earlier Sunday morning or overnight. He also wouldn't say when Burns had been seen last or what time investigators believe she was killed. Asked whether investigators thought she knew her killer, Streslin said he couldn't comment. I think almost all stabbings, I mean, it's weird. It's so, I mean, not all of them, but like whenever you see like a female that's stabbed, it's usually like a boyfriend or a husband, something like that. It's usually like an ex. We don't have any specific information. I mean, even the last case we just covered is exactly the same. So I've looked up in a database that precise information. Yesterday, state police officers joined by forensic specialists continue to comb the property, a yellow 2-story home that sits on a slight hill along Main Street. Streslin Strelzin, said the home size contributed to the complexity of the investigation. It's a very substantial crime scene, he said. The size of the home, the number of people living there, the nature of the crime scene itself, every room has to be searched, every item has to be looked at. Burns worked in town as a nurse at Carpenter Elementary School. Her children, whom she had with Edward Burns, are between 7 and 15 years old. Stacy and Edward Burns separated. So they're separated. They separated in 2007. This is 2009, after a judge granted her request for a restraining order. So, I mean, they're obviously, that's a person who would want to do this, right? The order lapsed in 2008 when a judge refused to extend it. Stacy Burns filed for divorce, which was granted, though. Edward Burns had filed an appeal with the state Supreme Court that contested the division of the couple's assets and allegations that he was at fault for the marriage's failure. So, I mean, you can see this guy is really angry at this point. The investigation, this is 2009, May 14th. So this is just 4 days later. The police have made no arrests in connection with the death of 41-year-old Stacy Burns. The police discovered Burns' body about 11 a.m. Sunday after receiving a 911 call from someone in her home at 146 North Main Street. 6 teenagers, 2 of them, Burns' children, were at home when the call came in. I mean, that's crazy. There was 4 just sort of friends of their 2 kids. And investigators have not said who called 911. Strelzin said yesterday the teenagers had been at home overnight. He wouldn't comment. They were at home, had been at the home overnight. Wow. So somehow somebody killed her. So you might think, wow, maybe one of these crazy teenagers, or, but I don't think so. I think it's Burns, the husband. He wouldn't comment on whether others had been at the home earlier Sunday morning or overnight. Asked whether investigators thought she knew her killer, Strelzin said he couldn't comment, but he added that in New Hampshire, random murders are extremely rare. Tuesday, state police, joined by forensic specialists, continued to comb the property. Burns worked in town as a nurse at Carpenter Elementary School. Her children, whom she had with Edward Burns, are between 7 and 15 years old. Stacy and Edward Burns separated in 2007 after a judge granted her request for a restraining order. The order lapsed in 2008. Stacy Burns filed for divorce, so she got that. All right. So now we're moving to, now it's about almost a month later. No charges yet. No charges yet in Mother's Day killing. It's been over a month since a woman was found stabbed to death in her Wolfboro home on Mother's Day, and no arrests have been made. The police tape is gone from the home where Stacy Burns, an elementary school nurse with 5 children, was found killed. The police said 6 people were at the house when they first arrived at the crime scene. Neighbors told WMUR that Burns' ex-husband, Ed Burns, and children had moved back into the house. Oh yeah, how crazy is that, you guys? So this Burns, the ex-husband, moved back into the house that he was forced to get out of because of the divorce. So now he's back in the house. I mean, what an obvious, Jesus. Would only say that when someone is finally... Neighbors told WMUR that Burns' ex-husband, Ed Burns, the one that she had a restraining order against, and children have moved back into the house. Burns would only say that when someone is finally arrested, the truth will come out, and I pray for them. Senior Assistant Attorney General Jeff Strelzin said the investigation remains active, free on bail after being... I don't know if that's a different thing over there. Okay, so let me go to this. And now we move 2 months after this. 2020 looked into it. Crews from the ABC News program 2020 have been in Wolfboro talking with friends and family members about the unsolved murder of school nurse Stacy Burns and the continuing effect of her death on the community. We thought this was an interesting story and one worth doing. Antrim said the episode on the mother of 5 found stabbed to death in her home on Mother's Day 2009 is expected to air this fall. Members of... I should probably go try to find that one. Members of Burns' family were among those interviewed, as was local attorney Jennifer Haskell, who represented Burns in her divorce proceedings. Stacy and Ed Burns Jr. divorced in 2008. Haskell said that she had talked to 2020 as had Michael Keeney, I guess, Stacy Burns' brother. Burns, who grew up in Natick, Massachusetts, had lived in Wolfboro since 1988 and was the school nurse at Carpenter Elementary School. Senior Assistant Attorney General Jeff Strelzin said the state investigation has involved hundreds of hours of work and dozens of interviews. There are no new developments. A month after her death, Ed Burns petitioned for a restraining order. A month after her death, Ed Burns, what the hell is that? A month after her death, Ed Burns petitioned for a restraining order in Carroll County's Superior Court, alleging that he was being stalked by Stacy Burns' former boyfriend, Stacy Burns' former boyfriend, James Vidham of Tuffonboro. Jesus. The court refused to grant the restraining order after hearing testimony from both Burns and Vidham. Testimony that the Attorney General's office listened to as part of its investigation. We were aware of those proceedings, said Strelzin, who refused to comment on whether either of the men are suspects. Strelzin did say that they, along with many others, had been questioned as part of the investigation. Ed Burns had been scheduled to appear in Carroll County Family Court the day after Mother's Day last year for a hearing on a motion for contempt of court filed by Stacy Burns' attorney. And yes, if you're watching out there and you have the... Oh, look at that. There's Esther Melgoza. Hey, that's equal to the highest one today. Archive cold case reading with Gray. Definitely super chat worthy. That's what I was thinking too. That's why I'm so disappointed. Hey, you got all I can say is I try, man. I try. You know, I know it's not like, you know. Well, I don't know. I think I need a producer. You know, somebody out there that actually knows all the social media sites, how to, you know, get the ball rolling and stuff. I just want to do the shows, you know. And I know all the other channels have them, believe it or not. You know, like they actually have these people to do everything for them behind the scenes, and they just show up. Yeah, some of the ones that you see all the time, by the way. I'm one of the few that probably just does everything. Thank you. This is a pretty interesting one, though, don't you think? We were aware of those proceedings, said Strelzin, who refused to comment on whether either of the men, both the ex-boyfriend and the ex-husband, are suspects. Strelzin did say that they, along with many others, had been questioned as part of the investigation. Ed Burns had been scheduled to appear in Carroll County Family Court the day after Mother's Day last year for a hearing on a motion for contempt of court filed by Stacy Burns' attorney. The petition alleged that Burns had refused, for a hearing. Ed Burns had been scheduled to appear in Carroll County Family Court the day after Mother's Day. I mean, this is so classic. It's just everything. Like, there was supposed to be a court hearing after Mother's Day last year for a hearing on a motion for contempt of court filed by Stacey Burns' attorney. The petition alleged that Burns had refused to pay alimony. Oh my God, this has got every one of them. Alimony of $6,000 a year since the final divorce decree was approved in 2008 and was woefully in arrears on child support payments of $1,354 per month. Yeah, it's, I mean, there's 5 kids, but I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's a huge burden. If you're somebody that's not making very much, $1,354. I mean, you have to make $2,000. Yeah, so that's one of those things. This is one of those situations, I think. Yeah, we always talk about, you got these guys that, they don't get the custody, and now they owe all this money, and they think their way out is to kill. It's crazy. Yeah, well, Mother's Day was the day she was killed, remember? Or is that was this case, wasn't it? Yeah, I mean, it was, May 11th, so. All right, so then that was, that was 2010, that one. Let me see, was that this one? That last one we just did? Yeah, 2020. All right, then we have one in 2012. New clue in 2009 murder case. Officials say duffel bag may shed light. 3 years after Stacey Burns was found slain in her North Main Street home. You know what I should do is do these and just make them videos and play them at like midnight. What do you think? Would that be crazy or what? Like, I could just read it and then I won't be complaining, saying, hey you guys, if you could please help support the channel, blah 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 blah. It would just be like a long read video. But I might say it once or, in the video or something. Just read it. And I could edit out, if I stumble through it. Because I think these are pretty cool. I mean, it's amazing, all the stuff you can find out there. What do you guys think of that? Yeah, cool, Joanne. Congrats. Hello. What do you guys think about that? Like some of these cold cases, I just, read through the whole thing and then upload it. And then it's just sort of and I do it as a premiere so you guys can, who's ever watching can chat, etc. Like somebody said something like do the late night thing with, I don't know. Well, it's a premiere, Lil D. I mean, why would you complain? There was a good idea. And then you get the one complainer, it's just, I don't know how to do the sponsorships. I don't know how to do any of that crap. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it just doesn't matter. I could have 1,000 pull questions. I mean, my thing is, how do I get the channel to do better financially? I mean, you guys know all the stuff that we contribute to, and I want to be able to continue to do that. And I can't exist on days like this or yesterday. I mean, I hope you guys understand that. So I need more people and people watching that are willing to help support the channel, etc. It's really about the only way to do it. I know, my idea was just, hey, why don't I do these ones where at night I read these things and I post them, and they're posted as premieres, and Lil D, when they're premieres, you can chat with each other just like this. Yeah. I don't know. They might be fun, but they don't do any better for me. So I liked it when you guys, when it was super chats for the poll questions. That worked pretty good. I like that one. No, it'd have to be at night. Yeah. I'm not gonna. You can watch it in the morning if you feel like it, or maybe it'd help put people to sleep. Yeah, I'm monetized by YouTube. Right, I am. That's how I'm able to do this. I'm not sure what you're asking. It just seems like they're the same types of, when there used to be people that were just like, they understood what we were doing and they're always supporting the channel, and now it's a struggle. I mean, some days, I don't know, it's weird. It's like this month had these crazy days where it would be like a really good day, and then all of a sudden the worst day of the year. It's like the next day. And you sort of wonder, like, what was it, Yeah, I hear from sponsors sometimes, like these people, and they're like, but I don't even, it just doesn't seem, like some of the stuff they want you to do doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. So anyways, on this show, you guys, if you want to help support the channel, that'd be great. Thank you. All right, so this is the new clue in 2009 murder case. 3 years after Stacy Burns was found slain in her North Main Street home on Mother's Day, Burns's neighbor found a potential new piece of evidence to the case, which so far has led to no arrests, officials said. About a week ago, a duffel bag was found at a neighbor's property, and according to Senior Assistant Attorney General Jeffrey Strelzin, the contents of the bag are now being examined at the State Police Forensic Laboratory. The examination will determine whether the newly found duffel bag was related to the homicide of Burns, who was found dead of multiple stab wounds at her 146 North Main Street home. The duffel bag, said Strelzin, looks like it was probably there. It's not different. It's not different at all. There's no difference between premieres where people chat and the live streams. The only difference is I'm talking. You like to talk to the people. It always sucks when somebody like makes it seem like it's, you have something like you're kind of excited about doing something. Now I'm totally unmotivated to do the reading the cases at night. The examination will determine whether the newly found duffel bag relates to the homicide of Burns, who was found dead of multiple stab wounds. Now, the duffel bag, said Strelzin, looks like it was probably there for a while. Strelzin said the bag was not underground, and he could not comment on why it was not discovered earlier. Strelzin would not say what was found in the bag or whether any suspects have been identified by Attorney General's office. While Strelzin said the duffel bag was found not far away from Burns's home, he did not specify on which there's something on this one. Which neighbor's property that the potential new evidence was discovered. To date, no one has been arrested or charged with the murder, Strelzin said. He said, while most homicide investigated by the Attorney General's office are solved within 24 to 72 hours, some cases take days, months, and even years to solve. Some, said Strelzin, never end up being solved. It all depends on the particular facts of the case. Burns, who died at the age of 41 on Mother's Day 3 years ago, was a school nurse and mother of 5 children. And and the ex-husband was supposed to go to court the day after that. Burns worked as a school nurse for Carpenter, and I mean, doesn't it? It seems like he should have just realized how obvious that seemed. After the homicide, the custody of Burns' children was given to their father, Edward Burns. Yeah, now he doesn't have to pay the alimony, and he doesn't have to pay the, what was it, $1,400 a month. Isn't that crazy? After the homicide, the custody of Burns' children was given to their father, Edward Burns, who was divorced from Stacy Burns at the time of her death. Yep. Okay, that's the one with the new clue. Now look at this one. This was 2018. Ex-husband of murder victim arrested. Man whose former wife was found fatally stabbed in 2009 is accused of wounding man with 10-inch knife. Boy, this guy couldn't have done it. Look at this one. Well, maybe you'll try. I could try it out, Lil D, and if you don't like it, you don't like it. But it's just like a video. You don't like my videos do better for some reason than the live stream. The former husband of a mother of 5 who was found fatally stabbed in her Wolfboro home in 2009 has been charged with stabbing a man in the back last month in Massachusetts. Edward Burns was arrested in Millis, Mass. On July 18th, accused of stabbing a man with a 10-inch knife, police said. Witnesses reported that the man and Burns were arguing when Burns threatened to stab him. Burns was considered a key figure in the 2009 killing of his ex-wife Stacy Burns, but was never identified by police as a suspect. Stacy Burns, then 41, worked in Wolfboro as a nurse in Carpenter Elementary School. Her body was discovered in her home in May 2009. 2 of her children were home at the time. Edwards and Stacy Burns were divorced when Stacy was murdered. The couple separated in 2007 after a judge granted her request for a restraining order. The order lapsed in 2008 when a judge refused to extend it. Edward Burns contested that the division of the couple's assets and allegations that he was at fault for the marriage's failure. No one was ever charged with Stacy Burns' murder, and she is on the list of New Hampshire cold case victims by the Attorney General's office. Yeah, that's where I got it from. They didn't list it, well, no, this is one that isn't solved still. New Hampshire woman stabbed to death in her bedroom on Mother's Day 2009.
A Mother's Day murder in Wolfboro that made national headlines remains unsolved 15 years later. Stacy Burns was found stabbed to death on May 10th, 2009 at her home on North Main Street. Authorities say she was stabbed multiple times while 2 of her children and some of their friends slept in nearby rooms. Burns was reportedly going through a contentious divorce at the time. She also had an ex-boyfriend who was questioned by
Lil
police.
D. Thanks for watching.
Neither one of them have ever been identified by police as suspects.
All right, and there's that's her right there. Stacy Burns, 41, was found stabbed to death in her home at 109 North Main Street. I guess these are all the kids here. That's pretty crazy. I know my mom and dad would get into arguments now and then, but my dad would never touch my mother like, shit. Now we're like the Morphew kids, you know. Stacy Burns and her husband Ed were going through a divorce at the time. I thought they were already divorced. Ed Burns was never named a suspect. No, that's right, he contested it. Or person of interest in the case. After their mother's death, the children continued to live at the home. Ed Burns moved back into with the children to be with them. They stayed there for a year. In 2013 interview, Michael Burns addressed the speculation surrounding his father. I know my mom and dad would get into arguments now and then, but my dad would never touch my mom like that, he said. In 2019, then Associate Attorney General Jeff Strelzin told WMUR the state Attorney General's office had worked extensively on the case. I can tell you that our office and state police have worked on this case for thousands and thousands of hours, Strelzin said. There's a group of dedicated people on this case and remain dedicated to try and get to justice for Stacy and her family. I guarantee you he's their suspect. Oh yeah, this is, when was this? Oh yeah, this is May 10th this year, 6 weeks ago, in another newspaper article. The New Hampshire Attorney General's office is making a renewed call for information in the unsolved murder of a Wolfboro mother who was killed 16 years ago, a day before Mother's Day. Stacy Burns, a 41-year-old mother of 5 and school nurse, was found stabbed to death in her North Main Street home in Wolfboro on May 10, 2009. Attorney General John Formella, alongside investigators from New Hampshire Cold Case Unit and members of Burns' family on Friday, reminded the public that the case remains an open homicide investigation and is still looking for fresh leads. What do you mean, man? You know who the guy is. We have not forgotten Stacy, and we will not stop until justice is served for her children and the community that continue to grieve her loss, and said Formella, even after all these years, one tip could make the difference. The night Burns was stabbed, so obviously that duffel bag didn't lead to anything. The night Burns was stabbed, 2 of her children and several of their friends were sleeping nearby, said the Attorney General's office in a press release. It was her 15-year-old son who found Burns the following morning. Yeah. What do you guys think about that? I mean, I don't know, like the father like son, maybe, some crazy. Despite an exhaustive investigation, countless interviews, and thousands of hours of work, no arrests have been made in the case. As part of the renewed appeal, the Burns family has shared a new photograph of Burns in hopes of sparking memories or conversations that might lead to new tips. The family said that even the smallest detail could hold the key to solving the case, to bringing justice to Burns and her grieving family. I'm sure he had a key to the house, right? We are disappointed that this marks another year that our mother was tragically taken from us with no clear progress in her case. We will continue to hope for justice she deserves, said the Burns family. Anyone with information about the murder of Stacy Burns is urged to contact New Hampshire Cold Case Unit at 800-525, so 1-800-525-5555, or email at coldcaseunit@dos.nh.gov. And this is probably sort of similar, I would imagine. It's a day later.
Once again, appealing to the public for answers 16 years after a Wolfboro woman was murdered. The family provided this new photo of Stacy Burns. Burns was 41 years old, a nurse and a mother of 5 when she was found stabbed to death in her home on Mother's Day in 2009.
Yeah. That's basically the same thing I just read. So there you go. That one's unsolved, but doesn't it sort of feel like it is solved? I mean, isn't that one kind of obvious? I'm just wondering. I mean, it's strange. Like, if they can't say that the dad was there, and then you got the son, remember how he was saying, well, my dad would never do that. Later. But, I mean, it seems like one of those kids in the house would have known something if something had happened. I think it's just sort of like the ex-husband snuck in there at night when she was sleeping or something and did something. I mean, how does somebody not hear those? I mean, I guess you could have people at one end and somebody at another end. It'd be pretty difficult. But I don't know. I mean, the fact that he stabbed somebody else years later just, you know, shows you that he has the propensity to stab somebody. It's just, that's crazy. This one's again like you know, the pesky case, or what was the other one we were talking about the other day that we should do again? I can't remember. What was that? Shoot, can't remember. All right, thanks everybody. I guess that's gonna do it. Thanks for everybody who showed up, and thanks for if you had the ability to support the channel. I appreciate it. Let's see. Right. Well, there you go. That's it. Hope you guys found it mildly interesting anyways. There are two kind of similar ones. I think I could probably find more like that. It's crazy. This case should be solved too, though. There's so many cases like this. I mean, Morphew's the same thing. Although his is more of a controlled jealousy thing. Because his kids are old enough where he wouldn't have to really pay support, you know. Alright, well, thanks for watching, everybody. We will see you tomorrow. Who knows what tomorrow will bring? Maybe tomorrow will be a better day. And I should have a different flyby coming up. I'm really looking forward to looking at my Insta360 camera in the water. You know? But yeah, I mean, I think today was even like I think we brought in for the channel less than yesterday as well, so we're kind of in a bad place. But you know what, maybe this just is one of those shitty months, you know. Maybe next month will be better. We will see. You know, I can't make stuff appear. I don't know how you missed it, Zozo. I figured you were just you know, what do you call it, just protesting or something. Well, thanks, Robin. No, I'm just having some bad days here. Getting frustrated. What's going on right there, by the way? Oh, wait. I thought it was like these arrows. See how those things are floating in the air right there? I was like, what's going on? But those are actually part of Google Earth. But they looked so perfect there, like they were in the scene. The shadows the same. You notice that? The shadows are exactly the same as really similar to the telephone pole, just off by a couple degrees. Yep. So, oh yeah, I'm looking forward to looking at my Insta360 X5 footage underwater of that freshwater stream that leads into the ocean. I bet that's going to be cool. Yeah. And we'll see you guys tomorrow, okay? So thanks for being here. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.
Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, plug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Grader's gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector.
I'll respect ya. Just remember I the temple fucking checked ya.
I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send you
on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. Alright, everybody?